today you will need your clock. Yours is probably a little bit smaller than mine. And you will need your Learn book, the skinny one, okay? We're going to be talking a little bit about time today. So if you could head to page 77, that would be great. I'll just do a little review. Oops. If you remember, the first thing you always want to look at when you're telling time is the hour hand. That's the short one. And then you figure out what hour it's on. And normally you hook it back unless it's right on the hour. And this long hand, that is the minute hand. And every minute that goes by, it goes to one of these, okay? Do you guys remember? How many seconds are in one whole minute? 60, right? And how many minutes are in one whole hour? 60. Yeah. Do you see if you counted up all of these, that would get you to 60. That's an hour, right? Okay. So before we get started, we have to do a little bit of fractions with time. So on number 1, it says, tell what fraction of each clock is shaded in the space below using the words quarters. Quarters, half, or halves, okay? So this was when we started to talk a little bit about a quarter after. Do you remember that? That was when it would mean that the time was 15, like 8:15 when we go to chapel, a quarter after 8. Yes, awesome. Okay, so on number 1, how many, a quarter means 4, kind of like in a quarter, there's 4 quarters in a dollar. So this one is split into quarters. How many of them are colored in or shaded? 1 quarter, right? So you're going to write 1 quarter down below. Then looking at the second one, would you say that one is in quarters or that one is in halves? I would say 1/2 for that, right? Half of that whole shape, the whole circle, half of it is filled in. So I would say 1/2 on the second one. Okay? The third one, this one is in quarters again. So how many of those are filled in? 1, 2, 3 quarters, right? So on the third one, I would say 3, the number 3, and then the word quarters. And remember, if you don't know how to spell these, they're right above, okay? And if I'm ever going too fast, just pause me, okay? And then the last one, you could actually say 4 quarters here, or you could say 2 halves. Either one is fine. The whole thing is colored in. Do you see that? Perfect. Okay. Then going down to number 2, we're going to see if we can tell some time. So the first one looks just like this. Now, we look at the hour hand first. What hour is it? 6. And we look up here to the minutes. Oh my, it is just what? 6 o'clock. So you write I'm going to try and do this backwards. It's not going to work. 6:00. I'll show you on mine. Don't look at the other ones. Perfect. Okay, the next one. Let's see here. I'm going to show you mine. The next one looks like this, okay? So, as you can see, it's pretty close to the one we had before. We go down here and we think, ooh, it's between the 6 and the 7, but it's not quite to the 7. So I'm going to hook back using the hook back strategy, and then I'm going to count my minutes. Now, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way over here, or I can skip count by 5s. 5, 10, 15. So it's 6:15. Perfect. Write that down. And then letter C. Let me get mine here. This clock, it just makes the worst noise in the world. Okay. Here we go. So for this one, you always look at the hour first. So I'm going to look here. Ooh, it's between the 3 and the 4. What should I do? Hook back to 3 o'clock. Great. And then we have to figure out the minutes. Now, maybe some of you are getting to the point you're like, I already know that. Awesome. That is so great when you can do that. If you can't figure out what these minutes are already, I mean, it's a little easier here because it helps you. You can still count 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, okay? So my answer is going to be 3:30, right? Perfect. 3:30. Another way to say that is half past 3. Fancy. All right, and letter D. Let's see if we can figure that one out. More of this horrible noise. Oh, like chalk on a paintboard. Chalk on a blackboard. I can't even talk. Oh no. Okay, here we go. There we go. Okay, so let's look at the hour hand first, the red one. Okay, it's between 9 and 10, but it's not quite to 10, so I'm going to use the hook back strategy. 9 is the hour, and then I can go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So 9:30, what's the fancy way to say that? Half past 9. Very nice. All right, let me see what the back holds. I'm just going to do a really quick one with you. It's not on yours, but I think you guys can do it. Okay, this one. This is probably the trickiest kind, and it is what happens when it equals 45. So this one, it's right between the 10 and the 11, so I hook back to 10, right? And then over here, I can see that my minutes are 45. I could say 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, or you can start here. If you know that this is 30, you could say 30, 35, 40, 45. 10:45 is really close to the next hour, right? It's really close to what comes after 10? 11, right? So you could say 10:45 is the same as a quarter to 11. It's like, we're so close. We only have 1 quarter left to go until the next hour, which is 11 o'clock. So anytime you see 45, think to yourself, what's the fancy way to say that? It's almost the next hour. What is the next hour? It is a quarter to that. Nice work. Okay, next, let's turn the page to go to page 78. Here, you are matching up the time. Okay, so if I were you, I would go down this list really quick and I would see what the time is that you're looking for. And then on the clocks, I would check to see what time does that show on the clock, okay? And I would write that down below. That will really help you. Then you can figure out, oh yeah, those two match. So if you look at that first clock, looking at the hour hand, it's right between the 3 and the 4, right? But it's not quite past the 4. So I'm going to draw a line with my pencil and I'm going to hook it back to the 3, right? So it's 3 something. We don't know what it is. 3 something. And then with my longer hand, my minute hand, I'm going to count by 5s to see what my minutes are. So I go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Did you get that too? All right, so it's 3:45. That is clock number 1. We're just going to write that down right under 3:45. And then we're going to go to the one down below, and we're going to see what time that one shows. So for that one, I'm going to look at the hour hand first, the little hand, and I can see that is right between the 8 and the 9. It's not to the 9 yet, so I'm going to draw with my pencil a line and hook it back to 8. It's 8 something, right? And then I'm going to start and I'm going to skip count by 5s to get all the way down to the 6 to see what my minutes are. So I'd say 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 8:30 is what you will write down right underneath that clock, okay? And then the last one down here, I'm going to look at the hour hand, and I see that it is between 1 and 2. It's not quite to the 2 yet, so I'm going to draw a line with my pencil, and I'm going to hook it back to what hour? 1, right? It's 1 something. And then I'm going to skip count by 5s and see what the minutes are. So I'm going to say 5, 10, 15. It's 1:15. Okay, so now you can look on the other side and you can think, quarter to 4. What should I draw that line to? Which one is a quarter to 4? Like Almost 4, but not quite. What do you think? 3:45. Nice. That's perfect. Okay, the next one says 8:30. What is 8:30? 8:30, so I know it's 8 something. 8:30, well, there's only one that has the hour 8. It must be what? 8:30, right? The next one, 8:30. Oh gosh, that's pretty easy. Just draw a line right there. The next one, 3:45. Oh, draw a line right up to the top one. And the last one says 1:15. Draw a line straight across. Okay, bonus. What is the fancy way to say 1:15? You guys know this. 1:15. Very nice. Now on the bottom, on number 3, you are going to draw the minute hand. Draw the minute hand on the clock to show the correct time. So they already did the hour for you. You just have to do the minutes. So it says 3:45. So where would you draw your minute hand? Your really long hand. Where would it be pointing to? Yes, to the 9, right? That would be 45. Perfect. So you're going to draw a line all the way over. Make sure it's nice and long for a minute hand. Okay, the next one, it already has, they want you to do 11:30. So where would I draw my minute hand to do the minutes to 30? Draw your line. What did you get? It's right pointing to the 6, right? That would show 11:30. And the last one says 6:15. Now they already have the hour hand for you. You just need to find the minute for 15. What is that going to be pointing to? Your minute hand is going to be pointing to the 3. That would show you 6:15. Nice work. All right, the last thing we're going to do is on page 81. We are going to be talking about our problem solver for today, and it has to do with pizza and brownies, 2 of my very favorite things. So it says brownies take 45 minutes to bake. Pizza takes half an hour less than brownies to warm up. How long does pizza take to warm up? Oh, so many words. Let's try reading it again a little at a time. Here we go. Brownies take 45 minutes to bake. So let's stop and write that down. How many minutes? 45, right? So write down 45. Okay. Then it says pizza takes half an hour less to warm up. What is half an hour? How many minutes? 30, right? So under 45, I'm going to write 30. That is half an hour. Okay, now it says, how long does pizza take to warm up? So we know how much brownies are, and pizza is 30 minutes less. So I'm going to do a little subtraction fact here, right? So we're going to do 45 minus 30. You can do your T-chart and see what you come up with. Awesome job. We'll see you again tomorrow.